So the list, like I obviously went and got Terry out of the first room, and then I started getting, you know, the names and room numbers, and I looked at the floor. Now I'm outside the hotel after the first time I went in, and I look at this, and people are like hanging out. They're outside on their balconies, just like, you know, guests in the hotel. I don't know. They could be from whatever countries, but some of them are like tying bed sheets together on like the 6th floor. Like this, my man had like 3 sheets tied together, and he had a good 30, 40 feet of just drop before it didn't even touch the ground. And I was like, first of all, don't do that. I'm like hand and arm, you know, because I don't know if you're gonna, like I said it in English, but I don't speak French, and who knows if you know what languages they understood or spoke. But the pointy, you know, like me saying no, you know, and then having people like relay it. But I'm like, don't do that. For one, that's not going to hold up. And I was like, just barricade yourself in your room and don't answer the door for anyone, period. And I would give them like reassurances while I'm like, how the fuck am I going to deal with this? Like it's a lot. And and I was looking at the room numbers, and like the highest floor was on the 7th. There was a bank of 3 rooms that were remotely close to each other on the 7th floor. So when I went back in, I was like, all right. I looked at the lower floor that I already cleared, went back the same way, and then I was like, all right, if I find the closest stairwell to this bank of rooms, I'm just gonna go right up this stairwell, because there wasn't an outside fire escape or roof access, because I wanted to get down and work my way from the top down. But I did a whole sweep around the whole hotel, and there was no fire escapes. So I was like, I guess I'm going. I didn't want to go up the spiral staircase, so I went to like the fire stairwell, fire-rated stairwells, and went to the lower floor. Like, so if it was 731, you know, 26 and 18, I went to the stairwell that was going to get me closest to it when I popped out on that floor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then when I got to the 7th floor, I couldn't get in the door from the inside because it was a crash bar, you know, emergency exit. So I didn't have the tool or anything to like pop it from the inside. So I actually went down a couple floors and then went over, and then that led me into this like outside area of the hotel. But to me, I was just still in the hotel. But at that point, I had went around to the backside of it where I went up that stairwell, and this whole wing of the hotel wasn't even on. It was like additions that they made, and it wasn't even on like the emergency exit plan or anything, like, and which I took with me to capture that how fucked up this hotel was. For one, like, this is what you have briefing on the wall here. Like, there's parts of the hotel that aren't even on this, like additions, the whole wings, and just so chaotic. And as I'm going up that other stairwell in between the 3rd and 4th floor is when like I'm about here in the clearance on the stairs, and, you know, like running upstairs and then like trying to clear, and then the gunmen are like coming down the stairs, and they're on the landing, and then we like lock eyes, and I stare down his muzzle from 5 feet away, like
that close.
Yeah, he's like right here, and I just go, well, fuck, but I look through his, like, beyond the muzzle and into his eyes, and I was like, I saw a change in his demeanor. I saw a shift because he was not expecting to see me. Big American flag, panos on my head. He's like, holy shit, without saying it. And this is all like very rapidly, but the next thing through my mind was, well, that's me. I'm fucking dead. And he cracks the first round off, and I black out for a split second. I mean, I got knocked out. Like, I thought I was in heaven or hell. And I just, like, it's all like a fog and haze, but like, I'm like stumbling down the stairs, and it's like almost like things are moving in slow motion, and I'm like shooting shooting back. And he shoots like 5 more times, and they all hit like just in this concrete stairwell right around, like pop, 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 like right, like Samuel L. Jackson, man, Pulp Fiction. And so for me, the divine intervention piece, like I just couldn't see it for what it was, and I just saw red, and I went running back up the stairs and yelled, and I actually cussed him out, called him a bunch of basic ass bitches. And I don't know where that came from, but I screamed it at the top of my lungs. And then he yells Allah Akbar at me and fucking pops the primer on a grenade. And I hear that. It's very audible. You know, time delay, pop, like a Russian style grenade, the pineapple looking one. And I've heard it a ton in Afghanistan, and I know, so I was able to yell grenade and get out of the way, relative cover. And that thing just bopped the fucking shit out of me. And somehow I was still, there was moments of blacking out right there for a second, or knocked, like unconsciousness, but then coming back to, and it's just, my teeth were just fucking like loose and dangling, you know, but I was just, you know, just holding them in place. Because I was like, I'm the only person that could stop these motherfuckers right now. And, you know, when they threw another grenade on me, I was like, fuck. I don't have what I need to deal with, like, to deal with this. I can't, they have the position of tactical advantage in this stairwell. And, so I just started going straight up. I was like, go get any Malian security forces that you can find now and get them up here. And I said that very calmly just now. I was yelling it. And, you know, basically whoever they could muster up there, I was just going up and down the line. Like, this is your fucking country. These motherfuckers are right here. I was just going straight up patent speech on them. Like, and I was like, you get a fucking shield. They don't speak English. And I'm just like English fucking screaming, and like, they're like, we. I'm like, you understand this, you know? And I was just so fucking, for one, I was hurting. And I was using, like, I couldn't stop. So I just used overwhelming violence of action to mask any of the pain I was feeling right in that moment. And this is in hindsight, but I was able to, like, you know, you take this shield and go over there. And I basically place this dude. I'm like, go over there. And like, he got to the base of the stairwell, and like, they took one shot, popped the shield from up here, and he drops it and takes it to the house. He's like, I served my country. See you later. Like, he was gone. And this was a Malian, all right, next, you know, like, get the fuck over here. And then this guy shows up with a gas mask on his head and a pistol. And he's like, I got you. He didn't say that, but he gave me the look. And I was like, all right, don't let them fucking move. And then I cleared the rest of that wing, you know, kicking in every door I could and freeing not just Americans, but anyone at that point. I'm like, this is now, I've locked them into a position. They couldn't go any, like, higher because it was a condo that they were trying to find. What I found out later, they had some pocket litter. They were sterile. Like, they didn't have, like, comms. They had comms, but they were burner phones, and like, they had some pocket litter that had the room numbers of, like, in the 6 series, like 600, whatever, a bank. And that was where the Air France crew was staying. So, like, Air France would fly in daily there. So their flight crews would stay in a certain wing every time. And they were trying to get over, just like I was, to the certain wing or bank of rooms. And, you know, our paths crossed very early in this process. And they were no longer able to, it went from, you know, killing and making as much of a impact as they wanted to or could, to survival and barricading themselves. And so they didn't kill another innocent person once they met me in that stairwell. It just took them, you the rest of the day for me to clear through. And then the French came from the assault force from Burkina Faso, the neighboring country, and one of my old teammates that was embedded with them, helping them, target and do things. And he hopped on a bird with them. There's like 12 of them. But when they showed up, it was like almost 1 p.m.
Holy
I
shit.
ran into the stairwell with them at like...
It's like 6 hours later.
Yeah, it was like 8 something when I encountered them in that stairwell. And 8:30 a.m. No, 7:45. Probably 8:45. Something like an hour from getting Terry out of there, or less. I don't know, but my whole point was when I kicked in one door in that wing, and there was a dude in Western dress just like with his shot right through his head, and I was like, look back at the door. I was like, there are holes in the door. Like, how the fuck did he get hit? And after I cleared the room, I was like, there's no one in here. And because when I kicked it in, like the deadbolt and the throw latch both broke off the door. So like I cleared all of it, right, and cleared it out of the door frame. And I was like, it really like bothered me, not just the fact that he was like obviously one of the people that were killed, innocent people that were killed, but like even in that I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, why, from a physics perspective, I was like, wait a minute. And I found out, because I went back with the FBI almost in an unhealthy manner of times to do my own sensitive site exploitation, but really trying to make sense of it all. I put a suit on and went back in there like every day for days and days. And I didn't know how many times I'd get a chance to go back in there, if at all. But they were knocking on doors, and then anyone that would answer their door, they would just even just through the people, not people, but the throw latch still engaged, the hotel, right? So it shuts in itself. And once you let it go, I mean, they would knock lightly, and this one guy, he answered the door, but just stuck his head, through the crack. He was looking through the crack, and they just smoked him right there through the crack in the door. They didn't have a fucking chance, man.
Damn.
But I do know that it was the most exposed I've ever felt, for a long time. And then when that troop came from the Burkina Faso, I finally was just like, all right, let's fucking go. And I was like, hey, here's the deal. I went over there and was to the commander. I'm like, who's the fucking charge leader? Who's in charge here? I'm like, here's the thing. They're right here. We got them. I got them pinned down. I can take you right to it. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, let's go. And I was pretty amped still. And
because they're still in there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Still barricaded in the same room?
It was like a storage closet. So if you think about the landing, there was a door that opened into the condo, that metal door, and then to the left of that on the landing was a storage closet, two storage closet deep. They didn't have much room, but man, they were there. They had tied up all their bandoliers and were loading mags while one of them was shooting and single shot. They were there to stay and die there. There was no way of flanking them at that point, at least not from my perspective. There was no direct way of flanking without having some sort of climbing ability or coming in from the roof. So also just taking a step back, and having to spread that out with the French, to be able to problem solve, which was awesome. And I think this is really ironic or funny, but they were like, "Oh yeah, you come with us, but just stay in the back." I'm like, "Roger that." I've been up front all fucking day. I'll stay in the back with you boys. Let's go. And then I'm like, doing all what the fuck's going on? It's taking so long. Like, it's all this commotion up front, and I'm, now I'm like, they shouldn't be, like, there's gunshots, and I'm like, who the fuck are they fighting with right now? And it was one of the Malian, like, security force dudes, like, shot one of the fucking French, like, in the top of his helmet. I was more afraid of, like, once I went in first, like, it was like me against the fucking shooters. And then after that, it was like giving people permission to go in, and anyone and everyone, like whomever, and with a gun.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was scary as shit. Like, I was like, how do you, filter through? Like, I can, discriminate a threat and a friendly, but that's difficult, even through the haze and the fog, and yeah, like they shot one of the French right in the top of his fucking helmet, and he walking wounded, bleeding, but we were able to package him up, get him out of there. And then next thing you know, like, now they're down in a Salter, and they're like, "Oh, you guys want to intermingle in the teams now?" And I'm like, "Roger that." And I just kept getting further. Then I'm like in the team, just flowing with them, and that's a testament to, like, the ability to not be so, like, indoctrinated and to just, it took me 2 rooms to kind of, like, adapt to their techniques and not get in the way. Because at that point, it's like, I could like fall on my sword here. You guys are doing this all fucking wrong if I wanted, but not that they were. I was just extremely grateful to be a part of any sort of, like, competent assault force. When my boys were, like, they were getting spun up in North Carolina, and the guys in Germany were, like, loading in a C-130, like, but they were 10, 12 hours away, 18 hours away. Like,